Millionaire Grind.
I'm a millionaire grind. Every day I'm on my millionaire grind. Every day I'm on my millionaire grind. Every day I'm on my millionaire grind.
What's up, you guys? I'm Tracy Fuller. You're tuned in to Me, God, and the Grind podcast, brought to you by the Millionaire Grind Network. Here we are, the crossroads, the decisions that we have to make. All of us have them. All of us have decisions. All of us have what we call crossroads. That is the critical point of an intersection. All of us have those. So let's discuss once again about these crossroads. We talked about pain, purpose, and we talked about passion, pride, and we talked about the challenges of crossroads. Then we talked about the change of crossroads. But today is a little different. We want to talk about once you reach your crossroad, once you reach your intersection, what do you do then? How do you handle the decisions that you have made? All of us have those. All of us have decisions that we have to make. And then once we get to the critical point of the crossroad, then there is some more steps that we must take as it relates to your crossroads. Okay, so now you have made the decision to do whatever it is that you venture out to do. Now you have made a decision to buy a home. Now you have made a decision to purchase a car. Now you have made a decision to start a new job or start your own business. All of us have decisions. Now that you have made that critical step to choose which direction you take, I want to deal with 3 areas today that can help us all. The first area that I want to deal with, you have to accept responsibility. Now that you have made whatever decision that you have chosen to make, you have to accept responsibility for the decision that you have made. Well, to give you an example of making a decision and accepting responsibility of decision, I have a 19-year-old son. And so by having a 19-year-old son, he has his own transportation, but he's up under my insurance coverage. Well, the other day as I was checking the mailbox, I noticed that me and him had a letter from the city of Memphis. And when I opened that letter, it was a ticket. And so, as I looked at the ticket, it was a picture of his car with the tag. Now, you got to remember now, the tag is in his name, it's in my name. The car is registered in both our names. He have full insurance coverage. And so I texted him and I asked him, I said, so you got a ticket? And I gave him not only the ticket, I gave him the location of where the ticket was at. I gave him the location where they took the picture, where they took a picture of his tag, and they took, not only did they take a picture, they had a time stamp of when the ticket was received. And so guess what? Only thing that he could do was say, Dad, I'm gonna have to pay the ticket. Why? Because he accepted responsibility. Brothers and sisters, we all have to accept our responsibility. He didn't say, Dad, no, that wasn't me. That wasn't my car. I wasn't there. I didn't do it. No, he accepted responsibility. Why? Because we had evidence that he had did what he did. And so, brothers and sisters, we have to take full responsibility of what we do. And so, when it talks about crossroad, your decision making, don't get angry with anyone else. Don't get mad with anyone else. Don't get envy of anyone else. Don't get upset with anyone else. Why? Because at the end of the day, it's your responsibility of whatever decision that you have decided to make. But secondly, not only you have to accept responsibility, you have to abandon some relationships. So the decisions that you make, You have to abandon some relationships. Watch this. The reason why, because everybody cannot go where you're going. Matter of fact, everybody don't want to go where you're going. So you have to be very careful. And number one, you got to accept responsibility. But then number two, you got to abandon some relationships. You have to abandon some relationships. Give you a prime example of that. My son, when he got ready to start college, he had some friends that was in high school that was not preparing themselves to go to college. And so one day he came home and he was talking about a couple of his friends, and I was asking him, what was they going to do? And he said, Dad, one was going to do this, and one was going to do that, and one was going to do that. And so he kind of got discouraged because after starting college, he was not going to have those friends anymore. And I told him, I said, now, son, it's okay to have those friends, but some relationships you have to abandon. Why? Because they're not going the same place that you're going. And so after starting college, after he got in college and he got on campus and he got settled in, he realized that college was more to it than just having fun. And so those friends who wanted to go out, those friends that wanted to drink, those friends who wanted to stay out all night, he came to the conclusion that he had to abandon some relationships. Why? Because he realized that he could not stay up all night. He realized that on the campus he had a curfew. He realized that his goals was not his friends' goals. And so he had to make a conscious decision. Once again, you got to remember now, we're talking about decision making. He had to make a conscious decision that he had to abandon some relationships. And so, brothers and sisters, that's where we are now as we talk about decision making. You have to abandon some relationships because everybody is not going where you're going. Everybody is not trying to do what you're trying to do. Everybody is not trying to accomplish goals how you're trying to accomplish goals. So you got to be very careful that the relationships you pick up, you have to be very careful. All relationships will not be for a lifetime. I tell my kids that all the time, that some relationships that they have, they're called what we call part-time relationships. You can't take everybody into where you're trying to go. And so you got to remember now, you got to accept responsibility, but then secondly, you got to abandon some relationships. But then thirdly, your decision making affect your relatives. Your decision making affect your relatives. Well, to give you a prime example, I always not just consider those that do the crime against someone. I always consider those that's doing the crime. If you take someone that robs a bank, or if you take someone who murders someone, yes, it's a very bad and tragic event when someone is murdered. And you always should be praying for that family. You should always be concerned for that family. You should always send your condolence to that family. But not only that family, it affects the other family as well. Because now you got someone who's sitting in jail. He has a mom, she has relatives. And so now they're missing out because they're sitting in jail. 9 times out of 10, they have children, so the children are affected. But not only is the children affected, the parents are affected. Not only is the parents affected, the siblings are affected. So not only does it affect the person that's murdered, not only does it affect that family, but it also affects the family of the person that did the crime. And so you have to remember now, your decision making always affect somebody else. And so when you think about your decision making, don't just think of it about it's me. No, It's about somebody else, because whatever decision you make, it will always affect someone else. And so, brothers and sisters, we have to learn. We have to learn now in this decision making. Now, after you have made your decision, now after you have decided to do whatever it is that you're doing, you got to always remember to accept responsibility. But then secondly, you got to always remember not only just to accept responsibility, you have to abandon some relationships. Everybody can't go where you're going. We have to remember that everybody is not going where you're going. Everybody don't have the mindset. Everybody don't have the temperament. Everybody don't have the will to go where you're going. Everybody don't have the same drive to go where you're going. Not only accept responsibility, not only abandon some relationships, but then lastly, you have to affect your decisions, affect your relatives. Yes, it does. It affects your relatives. It always affects your relatives. And so, this is me concluding with our crossroad, your decision making. And so today I pray and hope that something was said to help you along the way. Once again, I want to thank the Millionaire Grind Network for sponsoring us today, along with what we're trying to achieve today. And that achievement is to think. When we're always making a decision, make sure that we think. And so once again, thank you so much for sharing with us today. We hope to see you next time. Peace out.